Mike here, Money, Marriage, and Media, and we're back again with We Need to Talk. Been a couple videos since we've been here. So today we've got, this is an older video. I've seen this before, but I saw it when it first came out. I haven't looked at it since. I really don't remember what we're talking about. I have a clue, but the title is Your Girlfriends Are Great Men. I'm assuming we're going to talk about some masculine women here. But as always, guys, we need to talk. The host name is Alan Obi. Go check him out. Like and subscribe to his channel because he has a lot of these one-on-one conversations, which honestly have proven to be more fruitful when it comes to high-level conversations than we can see with people arguing on a panel. I'm just being honest. Again, that's why I'm not in a rush to jump on these panels. As some of y'all have been wondering, because he got a lot to say about people on panels, but he don't ever join them. Yeah, there's a reason for that. But anyway, it might change in the future. I don't know. We'll see. But for right now, let's get it going. Like and subscribe like the video says, people. Help us out, grow the channel, all that good stuff. Now let's click here and here and here and there.
I think a lot of women enter relationships in bad faith.
Oh.
Like I know I'm a good woman as I'm entering this relationship. You have to prove to me you're a good man.
Oh, okay.
So the expectation is you ain't shit until you prove otherwise.
Okay.
How can I respect you?
Valid.
So how do we undo that?
One way we undo that is, there are two things. The first one is acknowledge that we do need each other. This whole attitude of well, I'm just going to be fine by myself has proven to be untrue. Or for a lot, let me rephrase that. There is proof out there that it's untrue. From a financial standpoint, it doesn't make sense because the vast majority of people, average people, do not make enough to make it through retirement. The vast majority of us are going to be working to the day we die. And as men, that's a hard truth we have to swallow no matter what, not a marriage or not. But women, yeah, that job that you just like and don't love, yeah, you're going to be there for a very long time. Most of y'all going to be there to the day you die. As men, we accept that cold hard truth, and but again, that's part of being a protector provider. You willing to die for your family. But women, you single out here, good luck with that. I think we're going to see. I think the idea of marriage will end up turning around after Generation X gets halfway through retirement age, meaning that they're 70 and up, and you're going to see a lot more people trying to get together because it's just, again, 5 years in financial services. I had to have those uncomfortable conversations with people, single women as well. Men, they don't really care as much because, they're going to be working either way. So, but yeah, getting off topic. So let's go ahead and keep it going. Oh, the second thing is, I forgot that part. The second thing is that fathers become important because, again, your father is going to have the ability to read through the BS and all the attraction signals that you as a woman are blinded by with a man. Because we don't care how fine he is. We ain't impressed by his charisma or how much game he got. That don't mean nothing. That don't mean nothing to your father. We know how to weed. We know how to weed through that and get down to the brass tacks. And guys, it's the same way with your mom. Your mom don't care how that lady that you think is special. She ain't special to your mom, and your mom don't care how fine she is. So if you can't decide whether she's wife material, introduce her to your mom. See what your mom think. But ultimately, as a man, you still held the final say so. But it's always good to seek counsel from female family members who you love, value, and respect. But yeah, let's go.
I think that as a woman, I think that may come from a place of healing and knowing a sense of self. I think that, like you said, if you enter a relationship in good faith, you should we should operate more on the innocent until proven guilty instead of the opposite way around. I mean, America doesn't operate like that, even though they said we should. But I think because of a lot of the inherited trauma that we have from other relationships, from generations, from our family, from what we see on TV, from what we see in our lives.
I agree with her up until the point, because a lot of the times the trauma that women experience is not from them directly. It's from other people. It's from listening to other people. It's from listening to the group. Because women tend to work in a collective, and I mean there's some old biology there. It's like women survive through the group because they're the weaker sex. I get that, and then they're also living through the trauma of their mom, particularly in our community, because we have an abnormal amount of single parent households. So you already have a bias against men because the daddy's not with mommy. So men must be bad. We got to start working through this stuff. And now after reviewing a lot of these videos, I'm starting to understand what Kevin Samuels was talking about when he said a lot of black women just need therapy. Coincidentally, I looked at this lady's Instagram and she's actually a counselor. So, I mean, kudos to Alan for finding professional women to actually sit down and have these conversations with. Because, man, again, reviewing all these channels, and you start to realize that, okay, y'all are bringing on a certain type of woman, and that just gets old. Another reason why the gender war is dumb, because it keeps getting perpetuated by unintelligent people. Stop falling for that. We're going to have to start. If they post their Instagram, if somebody gives their Instagram and they getting interviewed or, they talking about relationships, I'm starting to look it up and see what your Instagram look like or your social media or whatever. If you putting it out there, I'm going to look at it and see if I need to if you're somebody who I should be taking serious. Because, look, getting on topic again. Let's go.
From what other people in our lives preach to us, oh, these niggas ain't shit, walk them like a dog, for every, woman that he's talking to, there's 5 more on the side, type of thing. I think that if you enter a relationship in good faith and you are in a place where you're healing or working towards healing, that you should extend that same trust to your partner. Because why would you enter something if you already feel like you're untrustworthy of this person? You wouldn't go buy a car knowing that. That's a bad analogy.
No, it's not. It's a great analogy. I've talked about this before, though, is that, ladies don't accept dates with men that you don't know. Again, why would you want to go on a date with a man? Why would a man be willing to invest his meat into you? His money, energy, attention, and time. Why is he going to do that if he doesn't know you? Because he doesn't respect you and he's only after one thing. Sex. Yeah, it's worth me investing, in dates, multiple dates, because I'm going to, if I, string her along on enough dates, I know she'll eventually have sex with me. And take the time. Because despite what the popular belief is that we need to go on dates to get to know each other. No, you don't. You get to know each other over the phone. See, guys, that's also how you weed out a lot of toxic women who just want you to give them experiences, even though they were not really interested in you. That's how you weed them out too. We can get to know each other over the phone. Any woman who's not willing to do that, they're not willing to talk to you over the phone. No, dude, go find somebody else. Personal preference. I have a thing about I had a thing about women who only text. But I'm a little older. I'm in my 40s, so it's a little bit different. But women, back when I was single, if all a woman does is text me, I'm at some point I'm just gonna stop. I'm gonna start giving one word answers, and then eventually I'm just gonna stop replying. Because if I prefer to have the phone conversation. Because again, number one, texting takes too long. We spent 30-minute conversation over text. That's a 3-minute phone call. I don't have that kind of time. I got to go to work. I got hobbies and stuff that I want to do. Hey, you can have that conversation. I will leave you unread. So that's just me though. Like I said, I'm a little older, but hey, let's keep going.
But I don't know. That's a really good question. And I can only speak for myself at this point. I think I have a very different view of love and relationships in life than a lot of other people do that are my age. But I think as women, it's pretty much like you said, like we have to give our Black men more grace, but we feel like often that they have to prove themselves first. It's almost like we are the CEO and y'all are applying for a job, and it shouldn't be like that.
That would explain why there's not that many of us that are married in our community. If the woman feels like you need to earn her approval, okay, but ultimately, if the man is the one who proposes, well, why is he gonna propose? And I just had to jump through all these hoops, even just to get you on a couple dates. Nah, I'm good on that. Good on that. Yeah.
I often say two of the most effective tools of white supremacy was setting a precedent of the Black woman is inherently unattractive and the Black man is inherently criminal. I have to be cognizant of that as a Black man.
Okay.
And I have to be graceful with that in our interactions. There seems to be, or that energy isn't reciprocated because the zeitgeist is continuing to push this narrative that niggas ain't shit and niggas are toxic and guard your heart, sis.
Oh, let's take a look at that. Okay. Zeitgeist, the defining spirit or mood of a particular period in history as shown by the ideas and beliefs of the time. I did want to take a second just to go over that because usually when Alan posts stuff like that mid-video, obviously it's an afterthought from the editing process, but usually it's important.
So how do we, because I want to move away from everything niggas can do to be better. What can the female Black, first of all, is there a Black female delegation? And what can they do to move this conversation forward?
Right now?
Great question.
I don't know if I would say there's as a whole.
She don't know. Gentlemen, we know that the sister code is real. And it only seems to, well, look, that seems like it might be out of context because we're not talking about that. So let's save it for another video and let's move on.
There's a Black female delegation right now.
Why?
To box a woman in, you cannot fit every single type of woman into this box and be like,
you know what? If she hadn't said what she said before, I might believe her. But again, it wasn't even 5 minutes ago that she was talking about that I'm a little different from women my age. Okay, well, you just put all the women into a box then. So it's okay for you to do it when you're making yourself stand out. But the minute we start talking about, oh boy, right. I'm telling y'all, the sister code is real. Sister code is real. All right.
Like, I am the spokesperson for the Black female delegation. There are so many types of women and just like their views just differ right now. Okay, like the big the big divide, as you all have discussed in your other videos. You know, you've got the city girl, you know, the pro-ho movement, the sexually liberated and free, and then you've got like the more like super conservative type of woman. You put those two women on a show like this, they're gonna go at it. Like, and not in all aspects, because there's probably a lot of similarities underlying that they maybe don't see. But I think like as a whole, sometimes like, and I see this a lot too, where we tear each other down more than, you know, black men or more than white people.
Really? Now, the way she said that, it almost seemed like she was inferring that women are tearing each other down. Where do we see that at? Where? Where conservative women are coming on and saying, "Hey, you're, you know what? This is a pro-marriage channel, so I definitely want to know what she's talking about, because we need to be promoting that content. From what she said, I'd be interested to know who she thinks out of those groups that she named, where do all the married people fall? Because again, we got to start bringing these topics up. We got to start addressing these issues, and when we have data and statistics that back up what we're saying, it's not about how we feel anymore. Because we know that nuclear families is the way to build our community. So the women who are in these nuclear families, who are in these marriages, what are they saying? Where are they having these discussions with these other women like she's talking about? That's the content we need to be promoting. Where is that at? I don't know. I'm still looking for it. Hey, send me, leave a link in the comment if you see what she's talking about, and it's on here, especially if it's here on YouTube, because I will promote the mess out of it. But I don't know. I've been looking at YouTube for a while. I don't see that happening that often.
So I think to say that we can put the whole black female delegation in a box, I don't really agree with that. So my personal opinion.
Yeah, no, I understand, and I think me personally, one of the things I say all the time is that we need to stop using that term, "Black people are not a monolith," as a rebuttal, because monolithic people survive. Monolithic communities thrive because there's a sense of one band, one sound. The reason we can't get on the same page is because we can't get on the same page, right? So moving back to the whole Facebook thing, why is it, in your opinion, that so many young, successful, intelligent, therapized black women are not having success in love and companionship?
Shit. I do not know.
Because they don't prioritize marriage. They don't prioritize marriage and family. That's why. Again, you combine that with you going into relationships in bad faith. And this is just all, I'm just speaking about what they've talked about in this video. But we're not interested in marriage and family. It's not a priority, or I should say it's not a priority. Combine that with the fact that we take men on the concept of relationships with men. We're taking that on bad faith. Look what you got. This is what you get. The current climate today. That's why I say channels like this, where we promoting marriage, become so important, because I don't blame women for their views on relationships and marriage, because we've let the ideas, we haven't done a good job of promoting them, promoting the benefits. The average person, the only benefit to marriage they see is, well, it's a tax break, it's a tax benefit. And most guys will tell you it's not worth the tax benefit. But again, if you don't consider legacy, then legacy is the biggest benefit for marriage. Raising your kids in a stable environment. Again, I'm going to keep saying this because we have the data. The data shows that the best environment is to raise your children in. Two-parent household bonded by marriage. So it makes it seem selfish. I get it. And well, look, we're going to move on because I might be getting off topic here. I'm starting to rant, or it feels like I'm starting to rant. So I'm going to cool out. Let's watch a little bit more first.
I think there are a lot of people in this world who are operating more off survival and off hurt than off of love. And even in those three terms, there's intersectionality. But at this age that we're in, you get told it's like two different tales. You need to settle down and start a family. Nah, you have that, and then you have you're young, wild, and free. These are your best years. Live it up. So I see more people.
So what she's talking about sounds like a lack of self-discipline. You're unwilling to sacrifice in order to reach the bigger goal. Sounds very immature. I mean, don't get me wrong. Men go through that too when they reach their peak. That's why mainstream America had they had a whole thing where they called it a midlife crisis. All the midlife crisis is because this was big in like the 80s and 90s, right? All the midlife crisis is that guy is starting to reach his sexual marketplace. His value is starting to reach its peak. And he's garnering more attention from the opposite gender than he was his whole life. And again, undisciplined men with low integrity, low morals, low ethics, a lot of times they fall victim to it. It's the same. Men and women both go through this. It's a struggle. It just happens at different points in their lives because women reach their peak earlier for the opposite gender.
Operating in the young, wild, and free stage right now, than in the let's settle down and be a family and buy a house. I mean, the economy is not suited for that either, but that's a whole different topic. But
the lies we tell ourselves. The lies we tell ourselves. You can't buy a house now. Okay. That's why you sit down with, 5 years of financial services. You think you can't afford a house? Okay. What licensed professional have you sat down to get your finances in order together? Or get your finances together? Most people say none. Okay. That's like saying, I don't feel good. I've been feeling bad for the past couple of days. Did you go see the doctor? Nah. My arm is broke, but I don't need a doctor. That licensed professional, what do they know? Yeah, okay.
I don't know. I have trouble dating.
Oh, you think?
Some people in the comments will tell me why after this video, but I don't.
The biggest so far, the only thing she said that stands out to me is the, going into interactions with men in bad faith. I mean, I don't know if she wants to be married or wants a family. If she doesn't, then it's not that big of a deal. But again, we don't know that yet. So
the only thing I see is that like a lot of people aren't therapized, as you say, like they haven't worked through a lot of these traumas that we're dealing with, and they manifest themselves in relationships. So you deal with a lot of situationships, a lot of things where, there's no strings attached, or, we kind of just doing what we want, floating by, because we don't know how to operate in that space of being in a committed relationship and respecting and loving and working together for one common goal yet. I don't think a lot of us are there. And there's nothing wrong with that.
That's a lie there or something.
Yeah.
I mean, like, everybody's not meant to be in a relationship.
But the vast majority of people are meant to do that. Okay. What you have here is a woman who is justifying her choices and lifestyle. She's drinking some feel-good Kool-Aid, as another YouTuber tries to say. I'm not doing the accent that he uses because it's just no, we're not doing that. But yeah, there is something wrong with that, especially if you're gonna keep complaining about why our children are on the bottom. Things stay the way they are, like what she's talking about. There's nothing wrong with that. If you agree with her, then don't complain about the way things are with our children, because you want it this way. You like our black boys reading reading statistics being at the bottom.
If they don't want to be. So.
Most black women want to be.
I'm sorry?
Most black women want to be.
Yeah.
Or they claim they want to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, claim.
So, and I think that's an interesting conversation, because I have it a lot with my male friends, and most, if not all, of my male friends are the niggas y'all want, right? What they say, if you're curious.
I'm curious.
Okay. What they say is that if you see a group of 5 women, right, and let's say one of them has been successful, and she's looking at her group and she's like, Emily is a doctor, Savannah's a lawyer. Excuse me for using white girl names, but that's what's coming to mind.
Savannah James.
Yeah, there we go. And what's her name is a community organizer. These are women of timber and caliber. These are women of movers and shakers. And why are they not having success with men? These are women who go to therapy 5 times a week, and they go to the gym 6 times a week. What men are saying.
What they saying?
What men are saying is, women tend to evaluate each other based on a male curriculum.
Ooh.
Your female friends are great men.
Okay.
But they are terrible women.
Okay, yeah.
Because unfortunately, and this is part of the message I try to push when I have a conversation with a woman, is the things that move the needle for you when it comes to me aren't necessarily things I would prioritize.
Damn, that.
The things that move the needle for me when it comes to you aren't necessarily things you would prioritize. Yeah. But if we're gonna look at each other as puzzle pieces who must fit, we can't be the same.
High level conversation. Now I'm going to offer the other side of that coin, because this. If you watch enough male-oriented content, you've heard this talk before. But I want to offer some pushback, something for you guys to think about, because it's something that I struggle with. So I'd love some feedback as well on this. If you're raising daughters, particularly in the black community, and the marriage rate being what it is, which means that your daughters are more likely to be single for life, what's your advice going to be if the average woman does not make enough to make it through retirement? I mean, are you going to teach them to be more masculine? Masculine traits work out during, as far as a career, they're great for a career. Ambitious, dominant, disagree, less agreeable. Those things work when it comes to career. They're good for making money, building businesses, getting promoted. They suck when it comes to a relationship, when you're trying to cooperate with a man. How do you balance that? I mean, as men, we often talk about being logical. Well, what's the more logical? What's the more probable outcome? One of the things I struggle with doing this channel is it is an uphill battle, because a lot of women, black women in particular, say they want to get married, and that conversation sounds good until you start breaking down and they realize that yes, marriages require a lot of work, even from the women. So, and most women, I don't know if they're up for the task of doing the work that it takes to build a marriage and to maintain it. So I mean, that's something that I struggle with, because like I said, I got daughters, I got to raise them. What's the more probable outcome? You can go off probability or possibility. And this is the thing that we talk about on male-oriented content all the time. And you see a trend of shaming women because they focus on the possibility. But again, if marriage is not the norm in our community, what do you tell your daughters? I want my daughters to get married. I do. I want both. I want them to get married. So, because that's ultimately the only way that I know how to build and improve a community. Again, I'm open to, being wrong about this. If you have another way, please, let's hear about it. Listen in the comments, point me, recommend a video or whatever. But we got to start. I mean, because that's a hard choice, man. It's a tough choice. Hopefully I'll come up with an answer, because running out of time.
So you being strong, black, educated, makes you a great dude. Doesn't necessarily make you a great, and sometimes, unfortunately, it actually works to your detriment. Because the more educated you are, the less agreeable you are. The more successful you are, the harder you are to please.
Yeah.
The more traveled you are, the easier it is for you to get bored. So as a man,
damn.
Mind blown. This woman has no knowledge of the male experience, the male point of view. Dare to say that she was raised by a single mom? Because women who tend to be raised in the household with their father, they tend to be a little bit further along with their cooperation or their relationship skills. Her reaction said a lot when he brought that stuff up, being looked for different things in women. I mean, again, that's why that dichotomy, the head bashing again, is that if you're raising daughters, how are you gonna raise them? I don't know. It's a hard conversation, bro. We got to start having it more often, though, because if I'm struggling with this and I look at this stuff all day long, what are you, as an average man, how are you going to, how do you work that out? We need more content, for one, just to add, get more people talking about it so we can get a better consensus of it. Because me just trying to attack this stuff by myself, I don't know how to solve. I don't have an answer.
Okay.
That 80% of women in your group tend to seem like a terrible proposition. Mm-hmm. So what are your thoughts on that?
I think it's valid, 100%. Yeah, you say that like, I'm getting my second master's right now.
Mm-hmm. It's a valid point until it's time to apply it to your life. Now, this video is not new, so I'd be interested to see, has anything changed about her? Will she come back on the show again? Well, we hadn't seen that yet, so I don't know. I just find it interesting because you see that with a lot of these shows where women are being interviewed or women are on panels, and you see them talk one thing, they say one thing when the camera's on, but are they living that in their life? Because Look, high level conversations are good. They're great. But, you know, these mind blowing moments, they're great. But if we're not living it, you know, when the camera's off, was there even a point to it? I would say yes, because again, it's YouTube. One of the benefits is that these videos will be here for a while. So hopefully somebody else can come back and see it. And because they're not on camera, they can actually, you know, take in the information. They can watch it back again. And hopefully they can, you know, we can, as a community, can start making some changes. That would be my goal, at least. So let's go.
So I have 2 businesses. You know, I'm doing all these things. Yeah. Granted, I hate the strong black woman trope. Cut it out. I don't want to be strong. I want to be soft. You know, but
No, she don't. Again, this goes to action. This goes to what are your actions saying? It's saying that I guarantee you, if you ask her what type of guy she's looking for, she is that guy. I guarantee it. Guy is well educated, high earner. She's got multiple businesses that she's running. She has a job, so it's like literally, if you got all that going on, how are you supposed to have time to meet anybody? Let alone date them and vet them for marriage. But you know what? That might be an irrelevant question because, you know, we don't know what she's looking for. So the bigger question is that because we hear that, you know, men say this all the time and women just don't get it. We don't care about your career or your job or how much money you make. Because at the end of the day, the burden of performance for us to be the providers is always present. And the question I always ask is, how does your income, ladies, how does that help us be the breadwinner? It doesn't. So all those businesses that she got, right? The main reason why men get married is for legacy. So let's say you do get married, right? And you have like 2 kids. What's going to happen to all your businesses? You ain't gonna be able to do that. You ain't gonna be able to run 2 businesses, go to school for a postgraduate degree, and raise 2 children. Or we can get a nanny. You're gonna let somebody else raise your kids. As if, like, God, that is a huge mistake. Number one, because the guy at that level that she's looking for, he's going to want the mother of his children to raise the kids, not somebody else. Because if you're going to get somebody else, then why does he need you? Again, doesn't care about your career, your income. What does he need you for? Well, I can bring in more money. We can build it together. Guys on that level aren't interested in it. Now, I can speak for, because I told you this channel is about average men. From an average standpoint, that's different. Well, not so much. No, it's not. No, it's not. Because I'm going to stand corrected. It's not. Because at the end of the day, women still want the man to be the breadwinner in most cases. So if that's the case, then no, your businesses and all this other stuff you got going on becomes irrelevant. Doesn't benefit the guy. Now, if you guys are already married and you already have a family, that's different. Because we learned about this from Security Boss. If you're willing to put the money into a pile to where the man can come up with a plan of how it's going to benefit the family, that's different. But most women in our community are not married. So for the majority of the time, that scenario doesn't apply, unfortunately. So what would I say is, well, I'll save that for later. Let's go.
Yeah, and I can 100% agree to that. As much as it hurts me to say it, I can 100% agree to that. And I speak on that because a friend that I have, he kind of told me the same thing. I'm like, I want to buy a house. I just can't wait to get my house. I can't wait to buy a new car. I want a Tesla. Can't wait to get my second business off the ground. I'm looking to get into real estate. I'm trying to have 7 streams of income. He's like, men don't give a fuck about any of that. Like, he's like, you can live with your mom until we get married. I really could give two shits. He's like, I don't care if you have a raggedy car, you know, like, it is what it is. Like, when we get married, I'm gonna get you a new car.
Yeah.
So he was the one that kind of brought it to my attention. He's like, all these.
And yet, she's still continuing down the path, right? This goes back to what I said before about what's happening when the camera's off. Remember how shocked she was before? But then to come to find out, you've already heard this stuff. You already know it. So either, number one, she doesn't believe it, or number two, the guy she heard it from, she doesn't value his opinion. I don't see any other options there because I don't know. Let's keep going.
These things that you're working towards, like that you feel make you more attractive to a man, they don't care about. They care, do you look good and can you turn my house into a home? And he's like, that's all I care about. And I'm just like, you know, and he's like, the caliber of man that you want, you know, they want, you know, that. They don't want women that, you know, are out here trying to, oh, you have 4 degrees, great for you. Like, I don't give a damn. Like, you know, like, I'm going to be the one bringing in the money. You know, you can work if you want to, but you don't have to, you know, type of thing. He was like, now, if you want a different type of man that might need you for your money and might need you to go get those degrees because he's struggling, then yeah, he loves that part about you because you are the caretaker in the relationship. But for the caliber of man that most women want, they don't care about that. So I think that your point is 100% valid as much as...
Yeah, it sounds good, but I think your point is valid, but I'm still pursuing. Yeah. So, in summary, I think what I'm gonna start doing is particularly with these videos, is summarizing that. Look, at the end of the day, we can't be too picky. So, if this is the type of women that are out there, the question then becomes: if they still want to get married, okay, so what kind of marriages are going to? What kind of men are going to be able to? Are they going to be able to work in cooperation with? At the end of the day, it's about choices and trade-offs. Life is about people. Wise man would say both of those things, right? So if I had to put together a profile for this woman, a dating profile, I would say that she's good. A good fit with her would probably be an average earning man. Number one, because it's like she said, her accomplishments are going to mean something. But she has to be okay with being the breadwinner. That's the only scenario where, you know, all those things that she's doing are going to become valuable. The problem I see is with a lot of women, you know, they can't handle the responsibility that comes with being a breadwinner. You don't get to turn that off. That's not realistic. Because again, you can't just, you know, being a breadwinner that's not a role you can step down from. As men, we know this. Women women have that attitude when they're younger, but as they get older, as children enter the picture, most of them get tired. And gentlemen, we know that as a breadwinner, you don't get that option. You don't. So, I mean, if she's comfortable with that thing, and it seems like she is, because she has a lot going on, then, you know, there may be, I would say an average man is in her future. Now, average men, how do you make it work with a woman like this, right? I will tell you. You improve in 4 major areas. A dime, all right? We said this before, but I'm gonna keep saying it because it's that important. You need to raise your levels in discipline, integrity, morals, and ethics. This is the type of man who is exceptional in those 4 categories, who will be a good match for her. Because why? Well, because again, the financial component is taken care of already. So she's not looking for a man to provide for her. At least if she's trying to get married. Because again, you want a man to provide for you, then all that stuff, all her accomplishments are meaningless. Like then, this is specifically for women who value their accomplishments. Yeah, then look for a man with those four qualities, and he's going to be an average earner. The issue comes in is that the challenge comes in is that number one, for women, you have to accept being the breadwinner. Number two, you can't throw it back in his face that you make more money than him. Because think about it. In a traditional marriage where the man is the breadwinner, does he ever throw that back in the woman's face? No, not unless she provokes him. So you can never throw it back in his face that he makes more money. Number two, that because the only thing that's going to happen is he's just going to fed up and he's just going to leave. Because again, most men are self-sustainable. If that's the case, then he makes enough money to support himself. You throwing your money in his face, that guy's just going to turn and walk away because that's a lose-lose scenario. Yeah, we won't get into why that is, but trust me, it is. So what do we have here? Oh, you find you an average man. He works, he makes an average income, which depending on what state you're in, of course, in the U.S., it's about it's about $40,000 to $50,000 a year. He has some kind of career, some kind of job that he likes to do. Maybe he's maybe he's a teacher, maybe he's a police officer, fireman. I don't know. But the point is that he does have some kind of career going for him. He probably has some kind of hobbies or something like that. But yeah, those four main areas, that's the guys that you need to focus on, and go from there. Men who excel in those four categories, they tend to make great husbands. They do, because if a man has excelled in those four categories, ladies, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, he's less likely to cheat on you. Again, because he has discipline. He has integrity. Yeah. So just my thoughts, but this is a high level conversation because we talked about a lot of things here that are going to be pertinent going forward. So on that note, I'm gonna stay ghost to the next time. Peace. Thanks for making it to the end of this video, but do me another favor, like and subscribe, but also check out these here. Either subscribe or watch videos, one or the other. I don't know which side, but hey, all right.